To Good morning.
Hello, everyone.
How are you today, Taylor?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good, good. So, hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Women Who Rise, the virtual podcast space where expansion, elevation, and soulful conversations live. We're your hosts, Nicole Williams and Taylor Lomascolo, two women from opposite sides of the world, united in one mission to empower, support, and elevate women into their highest evolution. Together, we dive into all things spiritual, energetic, business, life, and the realms beyond. A space that's designed for the woman who is ready to rise, remember her power, and step into her next evolution. This is a podcast where empowerment is the standard, collaboration is the frequency, and women supporting women isn't just a concept, it's the movement. Here we rise individually and even higher together. Welcome to the conversation, welcome to the awakening, and welcome to Women Who Rise.
Yay! All right. So, for anyone listening, the way we've designed this episode today is that we are going to interview each other, and it's going to be more of you getting to know us on a personal level, how we got to where we are today. And this is just going to set a beautiful platform for you guys to get to know us. So I'm going to interview Nicole first, and we're going to dive right into a few questions. Are
Amazing.
you ready? Are you ready, Nicole?
I'm always ready.
Okay,
Wonderful.
so for the women listening who's just meeting you for the first time, who are you beyond the titles and what season of life are you in right now?
Such a good question. Who am I beyond titles? Titles is such a huge thing, isn't it? Something we all hold on to so much. Um, for me, I am beyond the titles. I am a woman who is dedicated and driven and so passionate about being and raising the frequency of the collective and of humanity. Uh, I've been a woman who has been through so many different seasons and so many really challenging and difficult times, but also with the understanding that these challenging and difficult seasons and periods in time have also yielded so much beauty and so much, without those seasons, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I wouldn't, yeah, have evolved to this point. So who I am now and in this season is the embodied woman, the woman who stands firm and strong in who she is and what she's here to do. And I'm in a season where I've just collectively pulled all of my knowledge, skills, experience into one little bundle. And I have the privilege and the opportunity to now share that with other women maybe be who are maybe in challenging or difficult times or coming out of and needing that little bit of support or guidance or mentorship or any of those kinds of experiences. So it's a really powerful and beautiful season to be connected with women like yourself and also um, watching the evolution of women actually coming together. Whereas when I was growing up or when I was in previous stages of my life, it wasn't the same way. So I'm so privileged and thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you. Me and Nicole both collectively agreed that women coming together is so incredibly powerful. And when you are on this path of reclaiming your soul, you
Mhm.
also have to heal like the sisterhood wound. And that's essentially what she just said, and us coming together to do stuff like this and to pave the way for other women to do the same thing. So thank you, Nicole, for offering this, and I'm so grateful to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right. So, what are your current businesses? So, give us a brief explanation of what you do and how you help others.
Okay, so I have been a multi-business entrepreneur for 3 years now. My one of my main businesses is actually in cosmetic nursing. That's my background is in nursing. So, um, as we all know what cosmetic nursing does, but I enter that from a different space of not being overdone or not being, you know, accepting who we are as a human, the vessel that we're in, and enhancing to a point where we're still who we are. We just feel more confident and more like ourselves, which is really nice. My other business, I have a business that works with people with disabilities. So I like giving back to the community in a way where people who may be less fortunate or have more tricky paths still also access the beautiful things in life. And my whole business it's called Enhance Abilities. So focusing on the abilities that they do have and harnessing those skills. And again, it just comes back to that empowerment of like, what do we already have and how can we make this even better? So, and then my final business is Synergistic Soul, which is the energetic side of my life where I provide healings, mentorship, courses, um, all about raising the frequency of the collective. So I predominantly work with women, but not opposed to working with the divine masculine as well. I feel like there is a beautiful balance between both. And yeah, Synergistic Soul has been probably the business that I have wanted to nurture the most. It's been the most meaningful because I've been through this challenging time in my life and I understand the depths in which it's taken to get to this point and then what other people will go through to also get through their challenging times. Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing. For anyone listening, me and Nicole just met. So we're actually getting to know each other on this podcast as you guys are all getting to know us. So give a round of applause for how incredible Nicole is.
Thank you.
So welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the moment or series of moments that called you into the work that you do today?
Mm. We're gonna bring up the dreaded word,
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah. So essentially, I think for myself and a huge part of the population, COVID was for me a mass awakening. So at the time, I was working in the hospital. I was working on the acute wards, so your ICUs, EDs, coronary cares, that kind of stuff. It was very fast paced. It was very not usually my vibe. My vibe is I was very good at acute, but it wasn't my vibe. Anyway, my whole thing throughout nursing was, prevention is better than a cure. So primary and community health. But during COVID, obviously the rules were really tight. I'm not sure what they were like in the States, but in Australia, particularly being a nurse, they were, we weren't sure if, how bad the pandemic was going to get, if I was going to be able to come home to my children, if my children would have to go to their dads, and how long would it be until we got to see them. Um, then I was just predominantly on night shifts and then coming home and schooling my children during the day. It was just this really wild time where everyone was exhausted. And essentially, I'd got myself into such a pickle during this time that my whole system just started shutting down. So I would go to rock up to work and I'd almost be having a panic attack going through the door. And I was like, I struggled to align with the rules and the regulations that the government and the systems were putting in place. Like, we were not allowed to let family members come into the hospital to see their dying relative, or, you weren't even allowed to get the phone because the phone wasn't allowed to be in the room with the person. It was just, we're wearing these suits the whole freaking time, masks. It was just wild. But essentially, it had got me to the point where my whole system was so energetically done and physically done, it started manifesting in my physical reality. So it was panic attacks, it was unhealthy cells. My cells started to show like signs of precancers and all of these really wild, I was losing my hair. Like it was just wild. And I remember waking up at one point meaning to go to work and I was like, I can't. Ended up like Google searching my naturopath and making, this next available appointment, which happened to be the next day. And from that point, I thankfully had stepped into the journey of coming back into myself. And once I had connected with my naturopath and started beginning healing some of the physical symptoms that were manifesting, at simultaneously changed jobs. So I reduced my hours at the hospital and ended up going back to casual. Took on another job in cosmetic nursing, which got me out of the hospital. I started my disability service, which got me out of the hospital again. And from that point, I started my healing journey. I went from my first healing in Reiki and then began learning the practices myself. So Reiki, theta, and those for me have been life-changing, like absolutely life-changing. So while that time was super, super difficult, like I feel actually so blessed that the path has unfolded in that way, because again, it's that lived experience. Like, yes, it was mucked up. I'm gonna try and not swear while I'm on. But everything happens for a reason, right? So yeah, had I not been pushed in that direction, as tricky as it was, I wouldn't be here today. So
Exactly. So it's almost like those experiences brought you back into alignment and back into yourself, right? We get so far removed from who we are when we're just doing life and we have our careers that we sort of abandon our connection to our soul, right? And you are able to come back into alignment with that. And it's created all these beautiful pathways for you to express yourself and then help others in that way. So.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, was there a version of you that had to be released or outgrown in order for you to step into this work?
How many times? I don't know how many death and rebirths
Loaded
you've been
question.
through. Yeah. I don't know how many death and rebirths you've been through, but oh,
A
honey,
million.
like,
A million.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it's that what a lot of people don't understand is that there's not just one or two death or rebirths in your life. There is whole identity shifts. There is whole identity. I've got like truth bumps the entire time I'm talking. Um, I honestly don't even think I'd be able to count on my hands, fingers, toes, how many times I have shedded the old and shed the old and evolved into the new, even if it was, one or two things. It could be like relationship, it could be family, it could be any friendships, work, it comes back to that where you asked me in the first question, who are you beyond your titles, right? And we get so embodied in I am a mum, I am a nurse, I am a whatever. And it's like stripping all of this away. But yeah, but who are you at your core?
And
Which
exactly.
which is just, I don't think I could, yeah, I couldn't even tell you how many times, but I think it's important for people to realize that, yeah, the the evolution of the self is not just one, yes, we have our catalyst times, things like COVID being mass awakening and whatnot that kind of stand out more than one or the other. But at 36, I couldn't even tell you. And I couldn't even imagine, even at this point in time, if I've had this many already, how many more are to come. Would you like sitting there like, hold on,
Yeah.
please?
It becomes a way of life, though.
Yes,
You welcome and embrace the death and the rebirth because you know it's where your expansion lives, right? So once you've gone through a few like massive ones, which you and I both have, then it becomes like it's almost like embrace it. Like you know the next one's coming, but you just know how to get through it so much easier.
so much easier.
Every
And you just continuously are building this like tool belt of resources for yourself to be like, okay, I know this is happening. This is what worked last time. I'll use that. That didn't work last time. All right, let's pull this back in. It's not to say there's some days where you're sitting there and you're like, holy hell, like what is surely not another one? Like, um, but
We don't want them, but we just they happen.
yeah, but also too why connections like this and podcasts like this are freaking imperative because it I don't want to say normalizes, but it puts the perspective of life into
Yeah.
this bundle where people can go, hang on, I'm not in this alone. Hang on, I do have someone I can turn to, someone who can support me, someone who's been through something similar, which we can sit and we can relate and be like, holy hell, how did you go through that? Like,
Yeah, if it wasn't for the podcast, the YouTube channels, all the women that are speaking their truth and sharing their experiences, I would not be alive. Straight up. I
and
would not have been able to handle like the biggest deaths if
yeah,
it wasn't for the women that were out there that had already gone through what I've gone through, that I was able to connect with just from doing stuff like this.
yeah.
So if anybody is listening, we're here for you. We understand you, and you are not alone. And this is why we are doing this.
100%.
Beautiful. Okay, so who is the woman you feel most devoted to serving through your work, and what do you see her struggling with the
Oh,
most?
a great question. The women that I feel most called to collaborate with and to walk alongside are women who are similar to me in the sense that they may be going through, excuse me, difficult times or periods of in their life where they need more support, more guidance, but who recognize and who are aware of the need for something to change. They may not know it specifically what that thing is yet. But the women who don't make excuses.
Nice.
I My partner always says to me, you are harshest on the people that you love the most, in the sense that I always hold them to a higher expectation. Um, in the sense that I see people's potential. I can look at someone and I have this innate ability to be like, you will be this,
Yeah.
but you need to stop making excuses. So I'm a very no bullshit person. So
Yeah.
for some people that can be difficult to consume in a way that I am not afraid to call them out on their bullshit. So the person who is most aligned with me, one, they always love that anyway. I have so many people in my life. It's like, oh my gosh, you're so truthful and we love it. And we know we can ring you and you just tell us how it is, um, which is great. And it's always done from the most loving and caring perspective. I'm not just like swearing on the phone to them or anything like that. But um, yeah, it's just the woman who is driven, who is passionate, who wants to be her most best version of herself. Yes, for her family, yes, for her friends, but most importantly for herself. The woman who wants to come back to herself and her being, whether that's a new mother, a mother with older children, someone who's never had children. The women in my collective now are so fucking powerful, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And they're so different, and their experiences are so different, but yet so similar. And I just, they're just such a delight.
I love that. That's how you know they're like your soulmate clients or your soul aligned relationships in your life when they are people that are on the same path as you and they have the same values. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention as well when you were discussing how you're like a no bullshit person.
Yeah.
When it comes to like mentoring and guiding, when somebody has walked through the depths, they have learned boundaries and they have learned their own shadows in order to be able to call you forward on where you're actually not where you don't have boundaries or where your shadows are playing out. So it's always coming from a place of like compassion and empathy and calling the person forward into their higher self, into their highest timeline. And it's kind of like it's the initiation you've walked through and the stuff that you've healed within yourself in order to be able to take on that role for other people and they respect you for it. Right? Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
I get the
Absolutely.
same I get the same feedback from women. All the- Yeah. We're like, we're scared of you, but fuck, we love it.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
you're so right but I also feel like people can sit in that love and light space all the time, right? But the world doesn't work like that. If the world worked like that, outside would be rainbows, unicorns, and bloody butterflies everywhere we went. And it's just not that way. So I feel like if anyone is sitting in that love and light space, hats off to you, because I would love to experience your world even just for a day.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just, in my experience, it's not what it is. So I feel like you are so correct that no bullshit approach it's imperative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just helps people see what they're not able to see and think differently. It's an immediate perspective shift, and they're like, wow, I've been doing this the whole time and it's my fault.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's incredible for growth and it's just so necessary. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on that. Okay, so what does rising mean to you in this season, and why did this podcast feel like the right container for that message?
Amazing. What a great question. Okay, so rising to me at this point in time and in this season truly just means embodiment of who I am wholly and completely, and not hiding any aspect of that. I feel like as women, we're taught to be the good girl, to not say this, to not do that, to dress a certain way, to be a certain way. Um, and we end up spending our whole lives trying to figure out where we fit in. But in fact, it's what we need to kind of strip everything back to be like, who am I in the first place? And then this is the person I'm going to show everybody, and be confident in who you are, in your skills, in your gifts, in your life, not be ashamed of your story. Like I feel like women carry so much shame And so much, it can be generational trauma, it can be the lived experience, it can be aspects that we don't even quite understand because they're not even from this realm, right? So I think for me, that rise is just that full-blown embodiment of who I am, who I came here to be, and showing other people how to do the same. And in that, I know it's going to yield so many beautiful things. This is the first example of how that connection and how that full embodiment can bring in something so beautiful that would be so empowering for other people and so empowering for us both. Because while we've been through mass healings and deaths and rebirths and stuff, we're still on our own journey. So it's still this like beautiful time where everything's still evolving and coming to light. And I also love like that saying where it's like, um, you if you can't see the next step forward, it's because you're on your right path. And I'm like, I fucking love that. It's like we literally just had an opportunity where we were like, hey, like this has come up. Do you want to do this? Like, yeah, sure. And it just both felt right. There was no hardship about it. It just flowed, the times flowed, the conversation flows, like fucking fantastic.
I know. And for anyone listening, when an opportunity presents itself to you, like Nicole reached out and just offered this opportunity, and I said yes without hesitation because I knew that it was going to be a new level for me and just um, another thing in my business as well, but I knew that it was going to be amazing for using our voice and creating a pathway to use our voice in the future. And it's very imperative that when an opportunity presents itself to you, you take action on it because that is always going to be your next level.
100%. Absolutely. And I would just like to put out there that Taylor, had it not have been for you, showing up on that particular day within our group chat and saying, hey, this is where I'm at, like I would not have actually seen the opportunity to be like, hey, let's do this. So also kudos to you because it's not easy to sometimes show up, particularly with women that you don't know all that well. Like, yes, we've been in an amazing container together for a few months now, but we literally live on opposite sides of the world. So, yeah, so good on you for also just showing up and putting yourself out there because it's that side. The opportunity wouldn't have been there without it.
Yeah, so what that was actually me, for anyone listening, it was me being vulnerable. And we're both in the same coaching container. So I just reached out and I shared my experience within my business, and Nicole was able to just come in and support me that way, which created the pathway for this to come to life. And it's just come to life so beautifully, like just so effortlessly. Neither of us have done this before, and look at us go.
No, this is great. So
It's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm so grateful for all of this. Um, so what conversations do you feel, I mean, this kind of just ties everything together, but what conversations do you feel women are craving right now but aren't hearing enough of?
so vulnerability and truth comes a lot into mind. Um, how to use their voice in a way that is safe, a way that doesn't grasp onto a title. So, what I'm hearing a lot of in the collective is like the, the divine masculine, the wounded feminine, the divine feminine, and understanding it from a point where yes, we go through deaths and rebirths, and yes, there is like titles or names associated with these processes, but um, understanding that it all comes back to self. I feel like a lot of the collective, we're really quick to jump on like, oh, like twin flame or whatever, like these certain things, but we're so outward projected that the collective as a whole, women in particular, need to come back within. We need to harness our feelings, our emotions, our journeys, our voice. Our voice is huge, like huge. In some countries, women still don't have a voice.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to do things like they're not allowed to be on the street. They're not allowed to show their face. They're not allowed to, do all these things. But yet, in both countries where you and I are, where we are able to do this and we're able to be an example for other women that you can be who you are meant to be in a safe way that's supported by the collective.
Yeah.
And the only way in which we can continue to thrive is in that coming together. So I think any conversation, um, whether it's energetics, whether it's business, whether it's how to be a human, how to be, just be. Like the importance of just being is beyond most people's brains. The importance of feeling. I don't know how many clients in the last, I want to say probably 3 years. I was going to say 3 months, but it's really been 3 years that don't even know what sensation is in their body. We're so
Yeah.
far disconnected from our body and our being that we've lost sight of feeling.
Yeah.
We're so scared of feeling. Like
Yeah.
tears are okay, emotions are okay, shitty days are okay. Like we are so creative, and it's like our little nurtured womb space of being
Mhm.
the feminine that we we're meant to be emotional, we're meant to be loving, we're meant to be harnessed, we're meant to hold and support one another. And yeah, it's in doing these collective movements and in the demonstration that it really just empowers other women to do the same.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
we also we kind of came here to experience the world through emotions.
Very much.
So it's like when our emotions are not being processed, you actually can't evolve. Even if whether it's anger, like you're gonna have so much blocked in your throat, and you're gonna be so you're gonna have so much pent up energy, right? So it's like making sure that we release anger, that we cry, because that shifts so much energy. Tell me who has not felt better after a mental breakdown,
They're not
right?
breakdowns, they're breakthroughs, right? First,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So it's like understand, and that's what we're so far. We have even men, if you want to go there, right? It's
Mm.
like we literally taught to just hide, conceal, shut up, and then we become almost like these robots, right? And it's about learning. I've really had to learn this on my journey, because I used to only have one emotion, and that was anger. And
Mm.
so I've had to learn how to cry. I don't think I cried for years. And now I move through the emotions and flow. And
Mhm.
I just know that every time I let it happen and I'm just the observer of it, I
Yeah,
just move and just keep going, right? It's
yeah,
knowing that it's integrating it and just knowing that it's normal. It's a normal part of your existence,
yeah,
which is what people need to learn.
absolutely. And as we've been learning in our or discussing in our container is, often it's those times where you are, on your hands and knees on the floor, screaming, crying, going, what the actual hell is going on right now? That you move and ascend through some of the biggest transitions in your life. And it's just so important. But again, it comes down to women talking about this so that
Mhm.
other women know it's okay. I don't know how many times I've had the conversation, like someone say, "Oh my gosh, I've got so many emotions today and I'm crying." I always just say, "Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
What else do you want to get out?" Like emotions
Yeah.
are okay. We don't need to be scared of them.
No. And we're not supposed, yeah, it's part of our expression. So it's like we need to be okay with expressing ourselves in whatever capacity and whatever way that is. And if anyone does not accept you for the way you
Mm.
express yourself, then it's time for you to look at the external people and things in your life, right?
Amen.
So self-expression is huge. But we will get into that. That'll be a whole episode,
I
everyone.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead, Nicole. So I thought those are my questions for today.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much. You made such creative questions. I love that. All right. So, okay. Okay. So for the woman meeting you for the first time, who are you beneath your roles and what chapter of becoming are you currently in?
Okay, super exciting. So, what's interesting about my life is that I don't really have many roles that I play
Mhm.
because I'm 32 years old. I am have been single for 8 years and I don't have any kids. So the only roles I really play are like my work or career related roles. So for the last since about 24 years old, it's actually just been me stepping into the most authentic version of myself. So, who is Taylor without the trauma? Because I used to be crazy, crazy messed up, and we'll get into that. Who is she without, yeah, the family trauma, the addiction? Who is she without the screaming inner child? Begging for attention? Who is she without all of the trying to escape reality at every turn? So it has been very hard for me over my lifetime to ground into this earth experience. I started like escaping at a very young age, and I'll get into that eventually, but it's actually just been me over the last several years, specifically beginning during COVID, of course,
Mhm.
but removing all of the things that aren't actually me and coming into my self and embodying my higher self and the reason that I came to this world and the true, my actual purpose on earth and knowing and learning why I went through all of that. And yeah, so I am just very much a single girl. I have a very small circle and I'm a very mission soul. So it's like day in and day out, I'm on my mission and I essentially just hang out with my spirit guides and I build my business. So I do inner work and I'm a very like within and that's kind of just how I live my life right now. And the season of becoming that I am in is actually stepping fully into my mission here on earth. I'm in a big transition where I've been working a job and building a business on the side. And I've invested into many like different coaching containers to sort of get specifically like into full alignment. And in a month's time, I'm going to be quitting my job and going full time
Uh,
in my business.
Yay! So good.
So, well, I've been waiting years for my spirit guides to be like, "You're ready."
Ah,
So
I love
it's really
that. I love that so much. And I love what I love about your path and your journey the most is it helps to reflect that the two different kind of contrasts of women. So like me, where I am the mother and the partner, and even though I had been through this very big single period, I think we both show up for all forms of women. So the single women who may not want to have children, not saying that you don't, but there is a huge collective movement at the moment where women get a choice. And they get a choice whether they choose themselves for a period of time or indefinitely. And I think that in itself is, I can't speak to your journey, but I feel like my children have been my motivation, and I'm not sure if without them I would have had the same level of motivation. So I hats off to you for sticking on your path and for being like, you know what, you have to show up for you.
Yeah.
Like I had this kind of, I'm going to call it an excuse, not that children are an excuse, but I had an excuse to be like, I have to show up for them. And then in that showing up for them, I had to show up for myself. But just, I think that's so empowering.
Yes, yes. It
Oh,
has yeah. What was I just gonna say about that? Oh, and hats off to you because it's important that women with children understand that what it's like to empower yourself after having them and seeing them as a motivation, because not everyone does,
mhm.
to rise into a better woman and a better person. So I think that's also really powerful
Mm.
as well if you look at it for anyone listening who has children and sees like seeing them as motivation to rise further into, your path or your purpose or your alignment and really using them as motivation to rise. I think that's exactly how it should be. For myself, it's been sheer grit and determination.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
only
just
know like brief
not
parts of your story, and I just
not
think,
taking no for an answer, not settling and cutting it out, cutting things off and just like bulldozing the path and just knowing exactly why I'm here and not wavering in that.
I love that. And that's, you're so right in saying that. So right. And so right in, yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. So question two, what are you devoted to in the world right now? And how did it evolve into what it is today?
Beautiful. All right. So as for anyone who's on the awakening journey or this path, we're all here on a collective mission to raise the consciousness of the earth. So I am another person assisting this shift, and what we're all sort of doing is helping everyone come into more of a fifth dimensional consciousness. Um, so I am here to teach people this way of being soul aligned, spirit led, because that is fully how my life is.
Mm,
I work in conjunction with my guides day in and day out. They are the reason that I'm still alive today. And we work together on the collective mission to bring forward the new paradigm of business
mhm,
and help the divine feminine rise on the earth.
mm,
So what that means in layman's terms is like I essentially I have I'm an intuitive business coach. So I essentially help women get more into alignment with their soul purpose, their higher self path, which is not always the easiest path, but it is the most aligned, right? So it is the path where you are going to be able to reach your highest timeline. It is a path where you are going to be of service to other people in some way. And I think we're so ingrained from society to not be in service to other people, that in itself is such a transition. It's one that I've had to make because I didn't grow up being in service to other people. I grew up being in service to myself.
mm,
And I've had to completely rewire and become this like much more matriarch embodied woman.
mm.
um, and essentially, if I can do it, when you're going to learn about where I came from, and if I can do it, then you can do it too. And that was the purpose of the path, right?
Yeah.
So I essentially help people build personal brands based off of their mission, right? So we take people from the 9 to 5, from being out of alignment, or bring women who can feel the pull. They
Mhm,
know that they need to transition. They know that there's something more for them. That inner knowing of I'm not in the right space,
mhm,
um, and showing them the pathway of here, you can do this. You can free yourself from the job you don't like. You can free yourself from the life that you don't like, and come more into alignment and embody your mission. and start working towards that. So I specifically, my two ingredients are personal branding,
Mhm.
like start building a brand now, and then energetics, which is, the inner work, um, the subconscious reprogramming, the trauma healing, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And essentially that being the winning formula for your business and your life. So doing the inner work and then being on your mission and becoming visible. Visibility is a huge one. I know there's a lot of women out there that are hiding their magic. So
Mhm.
all the women that are scared to show up and be seen, I did it first to show you that if I can do it, you can do it too. So it's taking those incredible, there's so many incredible women out there
Mhm.
that have so much heart, right? And so many gifts. And my job is to bring them into their visibility, into their power, and
Mhm.
into their purpose.
I love that. I love that. And thank you for being on your mission because it's literally going to change the world.
Yeah.
It's literally. And I love the passion in which you speak about it and about your journey. And um I can't wait to continue watching the evolution of Taylor because
Yes.
oh yeah, I feel blessed to be in presence with you and to be on this journey with you as well. So thank you. Thank you, thank
Thank you.
you. Okay, so was there a defining moment or quite an unknowing that initiated you into this path of leadership and service?
So it was not a quiet inner knowing. It was
We That's
mass
right.
disruption. So I'm just gonna give anybody a little bit of a shock value warning. I had a very tumultuous past. And I'm gonna speak my truth right now. And I invite you to listen without judgment. So I was in this, my big awakening was during COVID as well, of course, right? It was either, people kind of woke up or people fell into kind of like a dark pit and then went back for more karma, essentially. You know what I mean? So I was one of those people that had a full awakening. But prior to that, I was working in the restaurant industry and I was in university. So I was actually in my third year of university, uh, just about to like pursue my career. And I was also, so right before I was addicted to drugs for many years. So I kind of went like in and out of this addiction pattern that I just couldn't break. Toxic boyfriends, like school, out of school, back at like that was my life pattern for many years. And then right before COVID happened, I kind of just had this magical idea. I was like, if you ever want to quit doing drugs, then you need to start selling them. And right before COVID happened, I kind of started. And then once COVID happened, I lost my job. And then that is essentially what I jumped into while I was still in university, while everything was shut down. And I actually like blew up. And I did that for like 2.5 years, maybe.
Mhm.
And what happened was actually the massive catalyst right before I actually like started like my psychic abilities came fully online out of nowhere. So as you guys can understand, I was not on a spiritual path. I was not reading spiritual books. I had no intentions of walking this path whatsoever. I
Mhm.
was ready to pursue my career in like media, like production design, art direction, in like the music and fashion industry. Okay. So it had nothing to do with this.
Mhm.
And I finally got too busy between like school and what I was doing to keep drinking and partying.
Mhm.
So I quit drinking. And within 3 months, I was fully psychically awake and I had like a full Kundalini awakening. So a full soul purification. I became clairvoyant out of nowhere. This happened over about 3 months. And then I went through like massive purging and healing for about a year straight. So I couldn't really stop crying. Um, there was like I could feel all of my chakras clearing. I was clearing like a ton of ancestral trauma, et cetera, et cetera. So this was kind of I also, yeah, this was a big awakening.
Mm.
So that is kind of what happened. And then I kind of went into like psychosis for a while. I kind of freaked out. And then after about, a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, I just started following the guidance
Mhm.
and I trusted the guidance, and it's what led me here.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And like Taylor said in the beginning, we are still learning about each other. And I thank you so much for being honest and vulnerable and truthful. I know the story isn't always easy to share. Not only that, but it's also not easy to come out of that. Like a lot of people use their story as an excuse to keep doing the same thing, and you've done the complete opposite. And I'm not sure what your upbringing was like, but sometimes it's the environment in which we grow up in that I'm not even going to say sometimes, cancel that. It is the environment that we grow up in that we have our most example from, right? Or we either be or and change. I love that you have also quit drinking. So I too have quit drinking for it'll be 3 years in February. And I wanted to ask you, do you think you always had psychic abilities, but you were so ingrained or chose paths that perhaps numbed those abilities, so that you kind of dulled them down in a way? And it was only that when you perhaps stopped drinking that you realized, hey, this is a thing, and like I can actually like this is a gift.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah. So, um, there were a few feelings I felt my whole life, and one of them was that I know I'm different.
you? Yeah.
Okay. I have always felt that feeling. I'm like, I do not fit in here. No matter where I go, I just don't fit in. I don't keep friends for a long time. I don't keep relationships for a long time. And I've always been incredibly career focused. Like that's always been it was never, oh, I want kids and a family. It was always, I want a career. So it's like that was that inner knowing that kind of pushed me to keep me, no matter what I was going through, to
Mhm.
keep me on the path of like following this, which has transpired into what it is now, right?
Yeah.
So there was like an inner knowing of like, I just, I knew something was something here didn't really make sense. And then I was also very intelligent.
Mm.
So because I felt that no one around me had the same level of intelligence, I had to drink and do drugs to stop the level of intelligence that my brain was operating at
Yeah.
because I couldn't connect with people.
Mm.
And the only way I could connect with people is if I did what they did. And
Oh,
I brought myself, yes, and
yeah.
I brought myself down to their level. So I only felt that I could connect with traumatized people because that's who I thought I was.
Yeah.
Would put myself in environments where I didn't know, you know what I mean? I was like, well, this must be what my life is. This must be the curse that I have, but it's not. Um, so I would hang out with, people that were like who I thought I had to hang out with, and I had to bring myself down to be on their level type of thing.
Mm.
Um, but back to the psychic abilities, it does run in my family on my mother's side. So, like, my aunt's a medium, and everyone's intuitive and connected in their own right, in their own little way. So, my mom's side of the family explores that. So, I think that was an easier pathway for me to come into because I
Yeah.
was around it. So, right away, I was like, well, it is in my family. So, I was able to normalize it a little bit when it did come through. So that helped. I think that was very much designed by my higher self so that I could normalize it because I was not working with a healer or there was nobody around me during my awakening that could support me.
Yeah.
Everyone actually turned on me. So it was me and my guides, right? So it just once it happened, I was like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
You're not here to do the same thing as everybody else.
And you're not here to fit
Here-
in.
you
Yeah.
are not, you're never gonna fit in. You're
Yeah.
not. I've accepted it.
Yeah.
You are a leader and you're here to carve a new path. You're here to show people a new way, and you're not going to fit in and you were never meant to. This is something that dropped in earlier today, actually, and it was like, and it's very relevant to this right now. It was like, I'm like, you never, you've been sort of blocked from being in a relationship or having kids or settling into a career. Like every time I tried to get into a career, something would sideswipe me,
Mm,
whether it was going to school 3 times. Like everything I've tried to do has just like it's been like a tornado of me trying to get onto my path, right?
mm,
But it was designed that way
mhm.
because I was never supposed to recreate the paradigms that are here in terms of business, career, and relationships. I was supposed to learn the new way, the fifth dimensional way, s- embody that, and teach it to others. So
Yeah.
it was never, ever supposed to be, I was never supposed to have that path that everybody else had. And it's been painful to watch other people come into their life and their relationships and have all the things, have money and all of that stuff. It was like I was specifically blocked from all of those things for so many years in order to be able to fulfill this mission.
Mm, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's
I,
been, yeah, go ahead.
I love that. I feel like my door is about to slam, so I apologize if that does. I feel like your journey is just so empowering, and I can resonate with so much of what you're saying, in that having that innate knowing from a young age, knowing that you're meant for more, knowing that having that feeling even from a young age that, oh no, I can't be boisterous. I can't be expressive. I can't have too many feelings because the people around me or the environments around me don't support that. Um, or drinking. I was drinking drugs growing up from a young age. It was the same thing. I knew I had psychic abilities from being a small child. But in my family, even though my grandmother was a medium, had never met her. She it wasn't something that was spoken about in our family. It wasn't like, it was very touched on briefly, but it wasn't. So it was like this, okay, but I've got this, but I have to hide what it is, or, in what way can I be like everybody else? And in that environment, it was drinking, drugs,
Yes.
numbing who I was as a person to become like everybody else who was also numbing to, be whatever they needed to be in life. And it's not to put down anybody's journey, and everybody plays a specific role, and everyone just does the best with the resources that they have at the time. But that I think it's really imperative for people to realize that things like that are socially acceptable, like drinking, can have a massive impact on your ability to connect, on your ability to understand who you are. And it's not to say that people who drink are bad people. People can do it in a way where they are still connected. I'm not one of those people. I'm an all or nothing. So if I have one, I'm fine. If I have two, I have 20. So I just choose not to have any at all, which is the path that works for me. But I know people like my partner who I can happily sit there and have one, and that's fine, and still be connected to spirit and still be amazing in their life. Um, but you bring up some really valid points, and it's actually interesting as how you're telling your story of how similar it is in ways. And I feel so privileged to be here and doing this with you, and letting it all unravel. So
Yes.
sorry. I'm gonna
Okay. Yeah, it's so beautiful. I think I like touched on, I'm just going to keep talking. I touched on Nicole's Instagram and I saw a little bit of your story. I think I liked the post and I was like, and it was about not drinking or it's been a while. And I was like, oh, I know this girl is going to have a story or a life similar to mine. Like I just know it when I saw that. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think people, just because something is accepted in society
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it's the correct path.
Agreed. I'm a strong, actually, I don't judge people for what they do, but I'm a strong advocate for not drinking.
Amen.
I won't judge you. Like I did it for 15 years straight,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not judging you,
Mhm.
but I also know that if we removed it, like we would be able to heal. We have the lens of higher consciousness, right? So I understand if we could just help people reduce their dependency on it, like everyone would come into more alignment and the world would just skyrocket into so like a more creative place, right? Because as we numb ourselves, we numb our creativity, which creates less beauty in the world,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So that's why that's where we're coming from when we say that we don't like advocate for it. It does. I know very spiritual people that enjoy a glass of wine, people that are incredibly on mission, incredible leaders that can drink, but I can't. I'm just not one of those people too, because it is all or nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But also we are coming from that place of higher consciousness where we know what it could do for the collective
Hmm.
if it was reduced.
Yeah.
That's all.
And an important factor to sort of bring up as well is even though we both are all or nothing people, I used to see that as a very negative thing, like, oh no, I can't do this because I'm all or nothing, or oh no, I can't be in this relationship because it's all or nothing. Like, and I'm very, but then if you change the perspective and you see, but I'm an all or nothing person. So when you're aligned with me, when you are my friend, when you are my client, when you are my in my field, I'm all in with you.
Yeah.
And that in itself is so fucking powerful because I know, like yourself, people who resonate with me, we're all or nothing people. We give what we give in a way that's healthy, that
Yes.
is uh, that comes from a space of we know the depths and we know how much we have to offer and we know how much you have to offer, and it's just actually so empowering. So while these perspectives and these experiences have shown us that, like, yes, there's paths that we don't delve into because we know the negative impact that it can have in our life and our in our connection with source and spirit and our spirit guides. It's yielded such beauty and such drive and such passion in
Mhm.
other aspects.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. Okay, so let's dive into the next one. Who do you feel most called to support, and what do you see them navigating this beneath the surface, beneath the surface, that often goes unseen?
Yes. So I'm definitely here to support women. Like 95% of my mission is here, is to support women. But I'm not opposed to supporting the masculine if they do come into my field, but it's going to be like 95% women.
Yeah.
And also I believe my role here is to activate the missioned souls, right? So just bring women in business who are ready to level up and put more of a mission behind what they're doing and to just anchor deeper into themselves, which will give them, you know, the drive and the passion to keep going, right? And just me being the embodiment of that by going first.
Mhm.
I think what I'm like, it's gonna keep coming back to this. What they're struggling with is speaking up, visibility, and speaking up.
Yeah.
So it's that being they're in hiding. and they don't know how to come out of hiding, or they don't have the support to be able to propel them up into their next evolution, right? So I am the guiding support for them to be able to move upwards and evolve by giving them, by being an example, and then giving them, the tools and the strategy and the energetics to be able to do that. So it's the girl who wants more but doesn't know how to get there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. And our missions and our paths, I think, seem so similar. And
Yeah.
even, not being closed-minded or closed off to the masculine, because I also think it's so important to recognize that we can say we want to only work with women, which is predominantly what we both are aligned with. But a lot of women in this day and age associate so strongly with their masculine that it's important not to close that door as well.
Yeah.
And in whatever title or thing that people want to uh, associate themselves with is welcome.
Yes.
And I know when I first came into my mission, I was very, very in my masculine. I was very hyper fixated on being single, being a single mom, working your jobs, working really hard, really action focused, very, very disconnected from my nurtured, embodied, creative self, that I was money focused, just no one could come in and help me. If you said you were going to come and do the dishes, no, 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 no,
I got
I'm
it.
doing it all. I will mow my lawns. I will, I
Yeah.
will not accept help, which is just, it's
Crazy.
okay. It's okay if you come from that point, but I think some people just don't always associate with that feminine. And it's not to say that they're not women or they're not whatever, but opening that space, that little window for the masculine is just forever important as well. So good on us both.
Yeah, I was the exact same way, but that's how my mother was, right? So I just kind of took on, she was the single mother, right? So I took on all of her like work 3 jobs, hustle, hustle, hustle. All I cared about was money. It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
but if it wasn't for that hard, like I was extremely masculine, but that was part of my soul's plan, right? So that I could come into my feminine and then teach women how to get out of their masculine and more into balance,
And into
right?
balance, excuse me, I'm just gonna, my dogs learn how to open the door. So,
Yeah, just coming back into balance. So it's like you're usually going to go hard masculine into like hard feminine and then swing the pendulum back into center once you get,
yeah,
that's kind of how the soul comes into alignment,
yeah.
right?
And even like that healthy balance, anything that we embody and learning that healthy balance, it's important to understand that learning and it's a commitment. It's a dedication every day to embody that, to show up and be like, it's actually safe for me to be a little bit more masculine today and know that I've got 5 tasks I need to get done. But then the balance of that might be, okay, well, I've been so task driven today that I now need to step back into my feminine and I'm going to run myself a bath. I'm going to nurture myself. I'm going to do a bit of self-care. I'm going to connect to my spirit team. I'm going to ground myself back into Mother Earth. I'm going to go for a walk outside in nature. I'm going to go for a swim. Something that we're in every single day, there is this beautiful balance that again it comes from um learning and having this beautiful tool belt that you and I would have both picked up from our journeys, from our mentors, from our environments, from our own research, and understanding that every day is this balance. And yes, some days we can lean more into the feminine and be full in creative mode and just like love and light and nurture. And then other days, there's going to be this balance, but it is just that like the pendulum, or I'm seeing those the weights that are on that I don't know even know what star sign that is, but that perfect,
Libra.
yeah,
Libra.
yeah, that perfect
The
balance
scale?
of like it
The
all just, yeah. And it is just a having the tools, having the skills, having the people in your realm and in your collective that might even just check in and be like, hey, like I can see you've been working really hard at the moment. Do you want to come and get a pedi? I
Yes.
do want to go. I do want to go and get a pedicure today and step back into my feminine. It's exactly what I need. Like, fantastic. So, yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that so much. Now, okay, what season do you believe many women are collectively moving out of and what they're being initiated into instead?
So exactly what we just talked about. The women are moving out of their masculine,
Mm-hmm.
and as we reclaim our feminine aspects, we get to learn a different side of ourselves and sort of step into the women that we were always meant to become, without this like heavy societal programming. Like with the rise of social media, with the rise of this new paradigm of business, we get to express ourselves in however way that comes through our brands, through our being, and we get to stop, get more it's always going to come back to getting more in alignment with your soul. So we get to release the hustle program, hustle programming,
Mm-hmm.
and step into being more self-led
Mm-hmm.
and coming back to like knowing that we get to heal as a part of our lifestyle, we get to be feminine as a part of our lifestyle, we get to have aligned relationships. Like we don't have to keep being friends with these people that we don't like. We can have boundaries, like all of these things that I never had when I was younger or
Mm-hmm.
was never shown. Now we get to learn and exist from this place of power
Yeah.
and be.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you brought up the hustle because while we are women in business, and business is predominantly a masculine society where it's that drive, it's the foundation, it's the focus, it's it is the hustle, right? It's teaching women how to be in business
Mhm.
and embody their business from a perspective of creativity, from a perspective of like, yes, it's not to say we don't work hard. It's not to say we don't put in the time and the effort, but it comes from a space, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm sure this is probably right for you as well, Taylor it, where it's the connection to source and we are so connected to our spirit team and our higher selves and our guides and our purpose that is essentially what directs every single business idea, every single creative like form of creativity, whether it's a program, whether it's a social media post, whether it's who we choose as clients, having that choice and only and taking on people who are aligned with us. Not every woman is for me.
Yeah,
I don't want people who make excuses. I
right.
want people who are happy to be called out on their shit and who are going to embody the practices that we know
Yes.
uh, are going to change their lives forever.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, final question, and in perfect timing, like, of course, it would unfold like this, right?
2 here.
2 p.m., 6:20 a.m. here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love this. Okay. So, if a woman listening trusted herself 10% more after this episode, what would you hope she would do differently tomorrow?
Hmm. I trusting yourself is like such a journey. It's such an incredible aspect of your like life and well-being.
Mhm.
Um, if we learn to trust our intuition and just trust that like inner knowing
Mhm.
to guide us, we would just be so much more powerful, right? So for the woman listening, if she trusted herself 10% more, what is that thing that you know you need to do that you're not doing? And go do it.
Mhm.
What is that thing that you've been hiding, or that venture that you're not taking, or that relationship you need to let go of,
Mhm.
or that conversation you need to have with your partner, or that mentor you've been looking at, but you're not sure how to invest?
Mhm.
Follow the nudges, follow the inner whispers, follow all the knowings, the
Mhm.
senses that you feel towards that thing
Mhm.
and action it.
Mhm.
That's what I would say.
Yes, and I love that so much. I feel like being a woman is to be intuitive
Yes.
and to have everyone has the nudges, whether it's an ability that comes in a sense of feeling or a sense of knowing or clairaudience or vision or, there's so many different levels to it. But again, it comes back to these societal things of, oh, I'll just stay busy so I don't listen to those intuitive nudges, or I'll drink or I'll take drugs so that I numb out what was, coming in, or this feeling's coming in, but rather than going into that feeling, blocking it
Mhm.
out. And
Yes.
that's where I feel like a lot of people in society really, you're right, that it's that percentage that tiny little thing in life that will be the directive for the rest of it.
It's that little tiny micro choice that you choose to take that completely puts you on a different timeline
Yeah.
and helps you, keep going. And when it comes to like the distractions, those things look like watching TV,
Mhm.
going out with your friends, um, like dishonoring yourself to please another person, going somewhere when you don't want to, not learning how to say no. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And then disassociating, being on your phone all the time, like, you know, uh, making like putting yourself, keeping yourself involved with like drama situations
Mhm.
and like that is another because I used to do all this stuff, guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm
Amen.
like, oh, if there's drama over there, well, maybe I'll have a purpose there and I'll just go towards that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I'm going to go over
So,
and stand up for that person. And it's like, you don't need to be involved in
you
that.
don't need,
Like,
yeah, like the more you can remove these distractions, the more you're going to be able to hear the inner voice,
mhm.
and that's going to become your new guidepost, So it's like connecting back into yourself is what is going to help you get unscrewed in your life in
Yeah,
general
yeah,
and get you onto your path of least resistance.
yeah. And I think it's important for anyone listening that you spend a good period of life
Mhm.
to your empowerment and to your embodiment unbecoming. So relearning, like taking away all of the things that have contributed to the person you are standing there in that phase. And then you go through a phase where you kind of retract a little bit. You don't really want to go and socialize. You don't want anyone to kind of fuck with your energy, basically, for want of a better word, because you're like, I have worked so hard to get to this point. And then slowly in the becoming, you actually go, actually, it's safe for me to invite this person in. It's safe for me to open up this because you've set your boundaries so firmly and so powerfully that you're okay to socialize. You're okay to invite new people in. You're okay to try the relationship too. Um, to watch TV or to engage in social media in a healthy way because you trust in yourself so much and in the work that you do so much, you know that you're not going to let yourself down,
Yes.
which is just amazing. But knowing that there's aspects to each part of that journey where there will be phases. There's times where I'm like socialized, like I'm just not in the energetic space for that today, but honoring that. And whereas before, like you said, you would just be like, oh, I'll just go because I don't want to disappoint X, Y, Z, or I'll go because I should. The should can write off because
Yeah,
no one should do anything. They should
yeah, of
always honor themselves first.
course.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. That brings us to the close of all of our questions for today, which I cannot wait to listen back and watch back on this because we are just give
Killing it.
ourselves a little round of applause because what a first episode. And I believe to start, we are going to be doing this monthly. And of course, if Spirit says more,
Yeah,
we will find time for more. Um,
absolutely.
but if something in today's conversation has moved you, then let it move you forward.
Mhm.
You don't need permission to rise. You only need the devotion to yourself and to your journey and your path. So, Taylor, would you like to share how people can connect with us further?
Yes. So, are we putting it in the show notes?
We
Are
can,
we going to be putting? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
So there will be in the show notes exactly how to reach us on our social media platforms.
yeah,
But I operate predominantly on Instagram, and my Instagram is just at taylor.lomascolo. And I'm expanding onto all the other platforms, but that's where you can reach me, where I'm the most active. And I would love to answer any questions you had about the episode or just if anything resonated with you, please reach out to me and let me know. We love hearing feedback. Same with Nicole. Like we love hearing feedback from you guys because it really helps us serve people, other women, and it helps us continue um, touching on the support and the things that people need help with, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
that's how you can reach out to me.
Yeah. And for anyone wanting to connect with me, also, I do use predominantly Instagram. I at synergistic.soul. But I also have other platforms as Facebook. These episodes will be uploaded to both Spotify and School and YouTube as well. So if you'd like to just see our faces while we talk to you, you can. But like Taylor said, totally open to feedback. If there's any particular topics you would love to talk about or love us to touch on, please
Yes.
do, because um, I feel like uh, the spectrum is so broad, and you and I both bring in such a wide range, anything from energetics, business, being a woman, health,
Yeah.
and beyond, all the realms beyond as well.
Yeah.
I am so freaking excited for this journey. And again, thank you so much, Taylor, for carving out time in your day, for being here, for saying yes, and for being on this journey with me. If I could give you a cuddle from
Yes.
this far away, I would.
Hugs.
Virtual. Love it. Love it so
Yes.
much. But thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to our next episode.
Absolutely, guys. Stay tuned for our next episode, which will probably be in 4 weeks. And we cannot wait to serve you again.
Yes. Awesome. Have a great day.
Bye.